Hey fellow Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans, it's Allie and I am back with my Season 6 review video. You'll notice I didn't say rewatch review because as I said in my previous video, we did unfortunately stop watching the show at the end, or we watched one episode of Season 6, but not really enough to count anything. Obviously the first episode in the season doesn't really show what all is going to happen for the rest of the season. So I'm calling this my rewatch video. Not my rewatch, my review video for season 6. And it's really crazy because actually yesterday I filmed my season 5 rewatch review video because we watched them so fast, and there was only 13 episodes in season 6, so we just watched it so fast. It was really crazy. But also I think not having watched much of season 6 and not knowing what happens in season 6 also gave us the incentive to want to watch and find out what happens. So I think we watched it at a much faster rate. But yeah, we finished it in 2 days, me and my family. So pretty impressed and pretty proud of myself, to be honest. I'm kidding, but I am kind of happy with the rate of how we're getting through with all the episodes, because I do want to be caught up by this Wednesday, and it is Monday night right now, so we have 2 more days until Wednesday. It'll be August 5th, and hopefully we'll be caught up and we'll get to watch the episode that actually came out on Wednesday. So I'm really hoping that it all works out that way, because I really want to get caught up and watch Wednesday's episode when it actually comes out, and make sure that we watch definitely next Wednesday's episodes, which will be the final 2 Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episodes ever. I can't really think about it right now, because if I do, I will start crying. I am really upset about it. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get into the season 6 review video. I did not know what to expect in season 6. I didn't really know what the plot was. I did know from watching the first episode that there was an evil doppelganger Coulson guy. We didn't know, who he was or where he came from or whatever. And that was really confusing when we first watched that for one episode. But watching it through, we see that he is actually we find it at the very end. We don't really find out what he is. We find out that he shares actual DNA with Coulson, so it's really confusing. We don't know, why that is. And for the entirety of the season, they're all just trying to figure out basically who and what and where and how this person, thing, whatever came to be, and why he has Coulson's face and Coulson's voice. And he doesn't really seem to have Coulson's memories at first, but we find out later on that he does have traces of his memories. But we find out at the end what he really is, and apparently when Coulson went into the to close up the rift and the fear dimension thing that was caused by the monoliths when they exploded last season, apparently it created a Coulson, basically Coulson, except it was created by the monolith, and he had this evil thing inside of this new Coulson, and that evil thing made this new weird Coulson guy to be evil. And he did have some of Coulson's memories, but we find out in the end that his evilness won out, and I hated that guy, and I'm so glad they killed him good, because when he stabbed, okay, I'll talk about it in a minute, but yeah, anywho, and there was also another chick named Azelle, and she's in the future, in space when we first see her, but we'll talk more about her later. But her and that Coulson have a kind of funny relationship throughout the season, and I'll go into more about that in just a little bit. But right now I should also mention at the beginning of the season, we also see Daisy, Simmons, Piper, and Davis out in space looking for Fitz, and there has been a 1-year time jump. So this whole time they've just been looking for Fitz. for the Fitz that was frozen in the chamber, so that they can take him home with them and they can have Fitz back. So they've been looking this entire time, and they've got, you know, Daisy has got a new hairdo, and Simmons does. She's got those bangs, and Daisy's got the purple in her hair. And they all look kind of spacey, you know, space-like, for having lived in space and visited several different planets. But yeah, we see them at the beginning, and they're kind of like, you know, should we continue, should we not? We've been doing this for so long, and we still haven't found him. Daisy and Simmons really do want to keep looking, but Daisy is more thinking maybe we should go back, you know, get refueled up and, you know, come up with a better, you know, game plan. And Simmons, though, does not want to leave at all. Kind of there's some arguments there. I'll get into that in a little when I talk about the individual characters like I do. But so they kind of get into an argument there. Simmons ends up pulling the trigger for them and goes to a planet where she believes Fitz to be. They think that they see that Fitz has left his chamber that he was in, that the ship that the chamber was on with him and Enoch had been destroyed, and Simmons believes that she knows what planet he's on. So they go to the planet, and, well, he's not there. But who is there is some Chronicom guys that are like Enoch, and they've been looking for them apparently. We don't know it's Chronicom yet. We just know that they're trying to get, for some reason, Daisy and Simmons, and they don't really know why, and Fitz they're trying to get. But they escape from them. Then they go to planet Coulson, where they believe Fitz to actually be. And they have that funny experience where they're high on alien drugs, and Davis is as well, but Simmons and Daisy are, and it's the funniest scene ever, like them being like, what was it, the Fartmobile, and like your hair was big and you had a nerd face, and like the Harry Potter references with like Ravenclaw, and oh, they were really out of it. But there was also some really cute Daisy and Simmons sister moments in that, because they, you know, we see them calling each other best friends and saying they love each other, and like, I mean, I know they were high and all, but it was really sweet still to see that, and see that their support and their sisterhood, and I just love any scene with them basically, and that was a really good Daisy and Simmons episode, so really enjoyed that. But anyhow, Simmons sees that Fitz is actually there. She actually even sees Fitz, but then that Chronicom guy comes and takes Fitz away. We don't really know where. And then later on, the Chronicoms meet up with Daisy, Simmons, Davis, and Piper, and they take over their ship, throw Piper and Davis in the cell, and confront Daisy and Simmons and say, we know you went to the future, and we want to figure out how, because our planet was destroyed, and we need to go back into the past and save it from being destroyed. Although their intentions might be good, they are horrible, and I hate them, because they torture Fitz, and they then take Simmons captive as well and lock them in a mind prison. So that's great, and I hate them. I don't know how Enoch became so good, because the rest of his, I guess, race is literally, they're all terrible. So, but yeah, so Simmons is taken with Fitz, and she tells Daisy to go home. There's nothing more she could do, and that they will see each other again. Sorry, my dogs are barking like crazy, but try not to mind them. So yeah, so and Daisy's like, I don't want to leave you, but Simmons is like, there's nothing you can do, and at least I'll be with Fitz. So obviously Daisy has a plan to come back and get her, but she does have to go back home. So when she goes back home, she sees that the rest of the team has been dealing with the Coulson Doppelgänger, and that he's been going around and stabbing people with this mysterious knife weapon thing, and that there's these spiky things that are coming out of these people, and then they also found out that it's this parasite that lives in them, and they found out that he wasn't giving the parasite to them, but actually was trying to kill them because of the parasite that was inside of them, so that it wouldn't spread. And obviously Daisy's like, whoa, you're telling me there's a doppelganger of my father, basically, because as I've said before, that's her dad. So you're telling me that there's a doppelganger of Coulson, you know? And so she's really taken aback by that, and like freaked out, as one would be. if they get back from deep space and they find out that there's a doppelganger of their dead dad. That would be really weird. So she's kind of reeling from that. And I'll talk more about what her mindset is. But they basically find out that he has this deep-seated resentment and this hate and just wants to kill this chick from space, and says that she's coming and that she's the queen of these these parasite bat-looking things that infect people, and that she's coming to destroy Earth, and that she destroys every planet she goes to, and that him and his team have been chasing her from planet to planet to planet for like hundreds of years or whatever, but they never can seem to beat her. We know that this guy is a fear dimension created weird Coulson parasite infected guy, but he doesn't really know that about himself. He doesn't know that he has a parasite inside of him. He doesn't know anything about his backstory. He just knows that he's been hunting this person forever, and that's basically all he knows until towards the end of the season. So he really just wants to kill this woman, and this woman, we actually meet her in space when Simmons, Enoch, and Fitz end up escaping from the Chronicoms and the mine prison they put them in. I'll talk more about that mine prison later on. When they escape from them, though, they meet up with this woman. This woman saves them from this guy. We think, oh, she's a great person, this, that, and the other. Obviously, it turns out she is not, and she is actually like a demon, literally a literal demon. So, yeah, not good. And we think she's good. We think, oh, she's taking Fitz and Simmons home because she says that she has these relics that she's trying to get to on Earth. And Fitz and Simmons are like, perfect, we're trying to get home as well. Like, we want to get home more than anything. So we'll hitch a ride with you and we'll go back to Earth. So they get her, hooked up with this plane, Fitz's old plane that he was on at the beginning of the season with Enoch. Gets them hooked up with that. They try to go back to Earth. Well, on this trip back, Fitz and Simmons starts to realize, hey, some weird things are going on. Some of the crew members are like acting really strange. And then obviously they find out it's because Izel has been, used the parasites on them, or little bat things or whatever that she controls. And they're all under her spell, basically. So not good there. Obviously they're afraid, like, oh my gosh, she's going to turn us into one of those. Obviously, like I said, they have no idea, no earthly clue that what's going on back home with the doppelganger Coulson and how that's all connecting. And they do, however, know about the Chronicom planet being destroyed, and we find out that planet was actually destroyed by Izel, who thought that the monoliths were on that planet. So everything's connected here. Like I said, the Marvel Universe always has had that saying, it's all connected. Well, in the show, it's all connected as well, especially in this season. So, while that's going on, Daisy and May are trying to wrap their heads around all this thing with Coulson, and May thinks that, oh, maybe he's, good. I'll go into more of that later on. Again, when I talk about the characters, this season each. But they kind of start to trust him. They think he's on their side. He tells them that he can help them, save them. And so I think they kind of start agreeing, that, oh, maybe he is, And it takes Daisy a long, long time to see that. But Fitz and Simmons do get back to Earth, and we don't see what happened to Izel, really. We just see that, they went into the ship to try to find her. Some S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, Davis, and one of Fake Coulson, his name's Sarge, one of his men. And she's kind of gone, and we don't really know what happens with her. But we obviously find that out later on. They get Sarge and the rest of his team into custody, and then we see at the end of one of the episodes, after they have seemingly, oh, Izel's gone, we got Sarge in lockup, everything's good, this, that, and the other, and they even have a little celebration or whatever. We see that May comes into Sarge's cell and puts about 5 bullets in him. And we think that, oh my gosh, May, I know you didn't like him because he has Coulson's face and whatever, but like, that's crazy for even you. Find out later that no, it wasn't May. Technically it was May, but that she had been taken over by Izel. And Izel was like taking over all these different people. They don't know who is who. They don't know who to trust. Like whose person is she in right now? They don't really know. And they're trying to figure out a way to stop her. They don't really know how. Bullets don't phase her. So, and she's just passing from one person to the next. And, ends up taking over Yo-Yo's body, and apparently her goal for doing all of this was so that she could get from last season the thing that Coulson put into the fear dimension to close it up, and that fits, when he did the surgery on Skye, and she, used her powers to like get the gravitonium and put it into that little ball thing that sealed up the hole in the time, the fear dimension thing. She wanted that because that had some bits of the monoliths in them or whatever, so she could use it to get more of her parasite bat whatever crazy people from this other dimension where her Earth used to be, and that she can bring them back through the monolith to have a new planet on Earth, and basically to take over everybody and take over them with the parasites inside of them. So that's her evil plan. And she ends up taking Yo-Yo hostage. She sees that she can run fast. She thinks, oh, I can use you. She takes her. Mac goes with her because Mac does not want to leave Yo-Yo. So he ends up going with Izel, and who was taking over Yo-Yo. So hard to explain. So many things happen in just 13 episodes. It's crazy, y'all. But so Mac and Yo-Yo go. Daisy and May, they end up figuring out where they are because Benson, who Izel takes onto the plane, tells them where they are going, because Benson actually told Izel where this temple was, where she could use the monoliths to create the hole in the universe so that they could come over the gateway, or whatever you call it, portal. And so, but Mac and Yo-Yo have, drop him from the plane in the containment cell that they put all the Inhumans used to put him in. And so he is safe and sound, and he goes and tells the team where to go. So Daisy and May are like, let's go, let's do this. And they get Sarge because they're like, Sarge has some memories of us, and maybe there is some good in him, and maybe he is the only one who can defeat Sarge. It takes Daisy a long time to get there because she is having a hard time dealing with the fact that he has Coulson's face, and she's grieving in her own way, and she's bottled up her emotions, and she hasn't really let them out, so it's just been really hard for her. But she ends up agreeing with May that, yeah, maybe there is some good in him, maybe we can get a little bit piece of Coulson back. So they start trusting him. They go on the mission with him. And obviously things go south there, and Sarge turns on them and sides with Izel, and which I so upset. I was like, really? You made us kind of like this guy, and then turns out he's a piece of crap? It really made me mad. And then, he stabs May and sends her through the portal that the Hell Demon Beast woman has created. And Deke goes there to try and give everybody these little band things that'll prevent them from being taken over by her. And so he's over his head going and being in there, and he doesn't really know. So there's Yo-Yo, Mac, Deke, Daisy, and May, who's been stabbed and gone through a portal. We see the woman go through the portal, and she and May have a fight because apparently death is meaningless there, and you don't really die in wherever that is. I think it's probably because it's hell. I just got that. Is it because it's like a hell, like it's basically hell, that it doesn't matter? Because she's like in hell, and that's, we're dead people? I don't know. Anywho, whatever it may be. She's fine there. And then Daisy and Mac are fighting Coulson, and Yo-Yo, I forgot to mention, but she has a parasite that came through her, inside of her, and she's kind of dying from that, so that's bad. At the same time, she's on the ground while they're trying to fight Sarge. And obviously it's hard for Daisy because she had just heard that May, who was her mother, died, and from Fitz and Simmons that she supposedly was dead, and really she was pretty much dead. But while she is fixing to fight Coulson, and while Max on the ground with Yo-Yo trying to save her, and Daisy's trying to fight this, I keep on calling him Coulson, I'm sorry, Sarge, where she's trying to fight Sarge, it's really hard to kill him because he's like, even though she's got all this anger, like, well, you killed my mother, basically, like, May's her mom. You killed her, and I'm gonna kill you, dude. But she's kind of turning this, and then we see coming from behind, the Izell woman. So Izell's coming right here while she's trying to kill this Sarge guy, and then we see the sword go through Izell. And we see on the other side that May has just stabbed her, and then poor wounded May came through even though she knew she's going to die. And she saved her little girl, and it's really sad. And then, they seal up the portal. Daisy finishes off Sarge with Max's help. And since they killed Izell, the demon thing goes out of Yo-Yo, and all that's resolved. And then Daisy goes over and holds May, and May's dying, and she's like, I just really wanted to see him again. And she said, I guess I am going to be seeing him soon, because she was dying. And dude, I was like, really, like, I was crying so hard. And then, Daisy's there holding her, and she's just lost Coulson, and now she's losing her mom too. Like, both of the people that she considers to be her parents are now dead. She's lost so many people before, she's lost Lincoln, all these, and so it's really hard for her. I'll get into more about that later when I talk about each character. But then at the very end, we see Simmons coming in, and at the base, I forgot to mention that, but at the base where Simmons and Fitz are holding everything together down over there, the Chronicoms come and they attack, and the Chronicoms have all gone evil. They've all turned into these hunter Chronicoms, and they try to kill Enoch. We find out really though that Enoch was undercover, and he saves Fitz and Simmons, but a lot of the other agents got killed by the other evil Chronicom hunter people. And he says that I have a plan, but it's going to change everything, or whatever, and we don't really figure out what happens. The next thing we see, though, is Daisy's holding May, and Simmons comes into to the temple with all these lights and everything, and she has this plan, and she looks so different, and she acts different, and we're like, what is going on? She takes Daisy and Mac, and I think this is kind of funny because even though everything's crazy and they're like, what is going on? They just kind of act like chill, like, oh, another day in the office, you know what I mean? So that's kind of funny. But she put something in May's neck. She says she's going to be fine. She puts her into this chamber. We're like, how is she going to be fine? But apparently she is. That's going to save her the chamber. Kind of I guess maybe, I don't know. But it's crazy. They, take them immediately to the ship. They say we don't have time. Simmons immediately puts in this coordinates and says Fitz wants us to go to this place. Simmons doesn't really know where. We don't really know where Fitz is. Simmons doesn't know. Simmons says she can't know. Apparently it's a danger, and the Chronicoms will, figure it out or whatever. But all these Chronicoms, like I said, have gone evil, and she tells them that plan that they have, or what she knows so far about it. And we know that Simmons has apparently been the longest period of time away from everybody. We don't know if they went to the future or what. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't watched we just watched one episode of season 7 tonight. We finished 6 and watched one episode of season 7. So I really don't know where she's been, where Fitz is. I know y'all probably do. A lot of y'all that are watching this because, y'all watched all the episodes of season 7 that have come out so far, but I haven't, so I don't know what all that was there. But yeah, that's basically, and then we see at the very, very end that the place they have been taken to on the ship was back in time. And I knew this because I had seen previews for season 7, so I did know they were going back in time. And I do know some things about season 7, but not near everything. I have gotten spoiled on some things, much to my chagrin. I was really upset that I got spoiled on them, but it's my own fault for, like I said, not watching them, and I feel extreme guilt over that. So it is kind of my fault, and it's kind of like what I deserve, I guess. But I have gotten some spoilers, but not near everything. So like I said, I don't know everything. But yeah, they went back in the past. So that's basically all that happens in this season. Now I'm going to talk about each character and what all they went through. And I think I'm going to start with, let's go ahead and start with Daisy, because I think she had a big, she really did have a big character arc this season, even though, you don't think she did, she really did. Because as Simmons pointed out towards the end, right after Coulson died, you agreed with me to go to space, And she knows Daisy at this point. Daisy is her, like I said, she's her sister. They've known each other for so long now. They've gone through so many things together. She knows exactly who she is and how she deals with things. And she knows that when something like this happens, like what happened with Lincoln, what happened after she got her powers, what happened with Lincoln, she leaves and she kind of disconnects from the rest of the world so she doesn't feel the pain and the loss of losing them and losing the people that she loves and going through all these things. And that's just kind of how she reacts, how she just and I think it goes back to her after, finding for herself and growing up, as she did without anybody. And that was, I think, how she had to react to things back then, because it was just her, and she had to keep those things bottled up because it's just her survival instinct to do that. And since season 1, that's how it's been for her, is she just kind of disconnects from people and kind of, hides and bottles everything away so that she doesn't deal with her pain, that she can survive. I think that's just how she is and how she's always been, and it's just indicative of like her sad and just such a sad and hard life that she has lived. And but Simmons kind of nailed it when she said that, and she hadn't really yet grieved or really dealt with the pain of losing Coulson, and like we said, that's her dad, and of course she is in such horrible pain, but she just doesn't let it be shown, and she wanted to get away from all reminders of Coulson, which was basically Earth, and she got in space, and she got her mind distracted with all saving the fits and everything. And then with this whole Sarge thing, she's just reacting kind of harshly towards it all. She doesn't believe him. She wants to kill him. She doesn't want to be around him. She's like, that has nothing to do with Coulson. She gets very upset if you say that he's like Coulson or anything, because she doesn't want to believe that, because that's not, Coulson. That's not her dad. That's a monster, basically. And she's just really taking it out in a really sad way, really disconnecting herself from it all. And we see she still hasn't read the letter that Coulson made for her. And it's just so sad, y'all, and my heart just breaks for her. And when I watched this, I was just like, oh, somebody give that girl a hug. She just needs to cry it out and get a nice hug. And she has that fight with May, because May is starting to believe that maybe there is part of him that's like Coulson. Maybe he does have these memories, and maybe he does really care for us. And Daisy's like, no, this, that, and the other, and they have a little bit of a mother-daughter fight there. And I was just kind of like, May, just hug her. She needs a hug. And like, that really is what she needed there. Because she was just, all that emotions were starting to bubble over. And like, when she does read the letter, and I think it was hard for her to read that letter, obviously, but she was kind of smiling, and crying about it, after Simmons' thing, where Simmons said, just let it out. It's not good to keep things bottled. I've seen that recently. You need to let it out, and we're all here for you. And I'm like, yeah, Daisy, small bean, just go. And, take comfort in all these people that love you. And it's just so hard for her to do that. That's just not in her personality. Like I said, she's just not ever been able to do that, because she didn't have anyone for the longest time to do that with. So she's just, I think that's what it is with her, I think. But when she finds that out and she reads it later, she's like, this guy is nothing like my Coulson. And she goes and she snaps his neck, and she says, if I do this, maybe the real him will come out, that parasitic monster, whatever. And he does end up coming out when she does that, throws Daisy against the wall, and he just blasts a hole in the door. And then Daisy immediately goes and says, let's find out what he is, And I think it's just her way of dealing with things, and it's just so sad to see. But and then literally right after that, she finally starts to believe that he might be good, because he says, just kill me, Sky, or, and he calls her name Sky, he says. And when he said Sky, it just made her think, how would he know that, unless he really did have Coulson's memories, and he maybe did, have feelings, and then it's so sad, because she hugs him, and she thinks that, oh, maybe there is a chance, and my heart broke, because obviously now we know, at the end of the season we know no, he is not good. And, finally, when she believes him and she takes him on this mission with her, he ends up killing May. And so, and she even says, "This is my fault. I've done this." And she just got over the loss of one parent. Maybe had hope back that maybe she could get a piece of her dad back. And now she's just lost the woman she considers to be her mother. And so it's just all so much for her. Like I said, this girl has just got every season just is piled on. She's just crapped on every, excuse me, but like she really is. Every season something bad always seems to happen to her. Like I said, death follows wherever she leads. Well, now she's just lost two parents in one swing of it. So she's really, at the end she wants revenge, but that's basically Daisy this season, just really grieving, really having a hard time with it, and just burying it all deep down inside of her, and then it all just bubbling over and compiling, and just, her hating the Sarge guy and just taking it all out on him, and rightfully so. At the end we know he's an evil monster, so yeah, good thing you did. And she ends up killing him. But she does see that May, at the very end, May is going to be brought back. She's going to be okay. So I was so glad. I mean, I knew May was going to be fine because I saw her in the promos. But my brother was scaring me because he's like, what if she's an LMD in the future? I mean, we see her in the commercials, why she's an LMD, and I'm like, shut up, Pat. No, that is not going to happen. No. And then, thankfully, no, she's going to be fine. So I was really happy about that. But yeah, that was basically Daisy this season. Just going through turmoil after turmoil as usual, per usual for the poor thing. I really hope, y'all, that she gets a good ending this season. Like, oh my gosh, in the finale, like, she better have a good ending. That girl deserves it. She has just gone through so much. And I just want them to be together and happy. And is that too hard to ask? Please, writers, please. I know you've already wrote the show, and I know we already filmed the finale, but please let it all work out for them. And especially, I mean, my girl Daisy, she has gone through so much. Please. Please. But that's basically Daisy this season. Now let's go ahead and talk about May. Because May is also grieving Coulson, but in a different way. She has already gotten all of it out, I think. By the time we see her, obviously she's still grieving. She'll always grieve. It's her love of her life. But I think she has, cried it out and had that good cry, and, but, obviously Daisy has not. So it's still bottled up in her. But I think May has come at more peace with it. Although, when she does see Sarge at first, she's like, who are you? Why do you have my, the love of my life's face? And she gets really upset about it, and because she thinks he's an imposter, and she's like, I don't know who you are, but get away. And she tries to kill him at every chance she gets. She tries to kill him. So her and Daisy have something in common there, mother-daughter similarity going on here, where they both wanted to kill him at first, and however, though, and she does, like I said, at the end, come to think that maybe there is some good in him, and she gets hope that maybe I can get Coulson back, So she kind of tries to convince everybody that I think there's a way we can get him. Maybe we can get the parasite taken out of him. Maybe he can get back to being, just get a little sliver of him back. And she even tells that Sarge guy, because he says, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get that out of me, but, without that parasite, I'm not going to be the guy that you loved. And she says, yes, I know, but maybe I can get a little piece of him back. And that just shows how much she loves him and how hard it is for her to live without him. And it's just, her and Daisy, their arc this season was basically just them grieving Coulson and just their way of dealing with it, basically. May held on to hope, which is kind of funny for May because, a lot of times you wouldn't think that, but with Coulson, she really wants to hang on to this hope that maybe she can get a sliver of him back. And it's really sad because in the end we see that obviously that doesn't work out for her, and he ends up literally stabbing her and killing her pretty much. And she even tells Daisy while she's in her arms, bleeding out to death, I just wanted to see him again, and it's just so sad that she just wanted everything in her power to see Coulson again. And she says that I think I'm about, or I guess I'm about to see him, and I'm like, no, do not say that. I literally, like I said to y'all, I mean, I really did cry hardcore at that. Thankfully, though, she's fine, she's alive, and I see she's going to be okay. I watched one episode of season 7, and I saw her at the, top of looking over Enoch. I mean, I hope she's okay. She looks a little possessed, but fingers crossed not. I guess I'll, in my season 7 review video, I'll talk about that and see what happens from that. I'll see what happens tomorrow when I watch 5 more episodes, but I won't tell y'all about it and talk to y'all about it until the season 7 review video. So, anyhow, May's good. So that's basically May's arc this season. Her and Daisy do have a lot of good moments this season that I want to talk about a little bit too, touch on, because obviously, like I've said 1,000 times before, I am obsessed with their relationship. I think it is the sweetest thing. Last season we see May kind of struggling with the idea that, wow, I was a mom to Robin. Like, I can't believe I was actually a mom. And, like, Daisy's like, I can see it, you got that mom look going on. It's because she can see, she's seen since season 1, basically. We know that Sky and Daisy now has considered her to be a mother to her, a mother figure to her. She's never really talked about it with May, but she has. And I really hope that by the end of season 7, they kind of talk about it, that, and have more sweet family moments there in season 7. I really hope I get to see more of that. But we do see it there, them kind of leaning on each other to get through Coulson's death, when Daisy gets back from space, and, they do have that fight about what to do with Coulson, and then she's worried about Daisy, and when she's going off and, just trying to snap the Sarge's neck, and worried because, she was seeing all that he can do, and she was worried for Daisy, obviously, there. And then at the end we see her stabbing Izel and saving her life, and that sweet moment at the end where, Daisy's holding her and she's watching her, her mom, like, breathe her last couple breaths, and, they're having, it's this horribly sad moment, but yet really sweet because they're having that connected moment. Like, I just really wanted to see him, and I know you did too, Daisy, and they just not only are connected with that mother-daughter relationship, but also for their love of Coulson. I think it just brought them even closer this season because of their shared love for him, and that was just a really sweet, yet horribly sad moment, made better when we realized that May is going to be fine. But yeah, so that was basically May this season. Now let's talk about Simmons, because Simmons always seems to go through a lot too, like Daisy. She went through quite a bit this season. We see her desperate, like May was desperate to hopefully get a piece of Coulson back. She was extremely desperate at the beginning of the season to get Fitz back. The love of her life, obviously, Fitzsimmons. But yeah, very desperate, willing to, go against Daisy's orders and the rest of her team, what they want, and just to get, to get him back, which it makes sense. I mean, obviously you would want to do anything in your power to get them back. And she does. And then, whenever they get captured by the Chronicoms and she sees Fitz there, she's like, it's okay, I'm going to be with Fitz, as long as I'm with him, I'm going to be good, And so, we just see how excited she is just to get to see him again and see that she actually has a Fitz left in the world, and there he is. And, we get a sweet reunion with them, even when they're in that mine prison, where they hug and they catch up on what's going on, And we see she's hiding, all the things that did happen, Fitz's actual death, and, Coulson's death from Fitz, and the fact that they got married from Fitz, and, Deke, the fact that they have a grandson. And she's just kind of finding it hard to tell him, and obviously one would. I mean, so many things happened, and, he missed out on so much, and then he died. And he finds that out through that memory prison. They find out a lot of things, and they battled their worst inner demons, and, we see that Simmons has this bottled up, that's what she said to Daisy, like, you can't bottle this up, I learned that recently, she learned that in the mine prison. because we see that she bottled up this, hard, like just this deep guttural pain inside of her, and it's manifested into this insanely creepy, you guys. Like, I was like, is this Halloween special or what is this? Like The Ring, that movie The Ring. Like, that was the level that this was at. Really, really creepy. Like, freaking Elizabeth Henson. Elizabeth did an amazing job at portraying that creepy Simmons. Like, I was terrified. My whole family was just like, okay. And then the doctor's there, and like they're like yelling at each other, like getting it out, like, you left me whenever I needed you after the brain, like everything that they've gone through. You left me when I needed you after, we were in the ocean, and then yelling about that, and just getting all of that out in the open, to her leaving them, and then into the thing, and then her getting with Will and being with Will, he yelled at her about that, and obviously she yelled at him about being the doctor and about all the crazy things that he did, in the framework, and they just, it was really good for them that they finally yelled and argued about it and got it out in the open, and then in the end we see that they're like, that it's okay, we did this, but we're good now, and it's healthy for us. All this stuff isn't bottled up anymore. That was a big thing this season, was, don't keep your emotions bottled up, and, like she said to Daisy, we're here for you, and it's good. And that's what basically this season was kind of about, was just getting everything out there in the open, and it was really great for Fitz and Simmons' relationship. So in a way, thank you, Chronicoms, for that, because they really needed that, and it was good for their relationship. So thank you. But really, they ended up getting out of there with the help of Enoch. Although they did scan their brains, and that was part of how they knew where to go to the lighthouse, and how all the different places and all the different codes to get in there. So that's really creepy, but they at least got out. And like I said, they met with Izell, whatever. But Simmons was just basically happy to be back with Fitz, and then they were going back home to Earth, and she even said, I'm just sick of space. So they get back home, and not much really happens there. Like, she helps everybody try to save the world, from the Izell and the Chronicoms and stuff, and her and Fitz are good, and they kind of have cute different relationship scenes, and there's scenes with Deke, and they have little cute family moments together with them. But not too much else happens there, we see that the relationship between Fitz and Simmons is good, and it's healthy, and it's great, and that's good. And I think she's just, in this season, towards the end, she's just really happy to have him back, and I think that Simmons is in a good spot at the end of the season, which is funny because at the beginning, obviously, she was not. However, she is having to deal with the whole Chronicom situation, and I totally have no clue what she went through. If they were in the future, whatever, I don't know what Enoch's plan was right now where I'm at, because the first episode of season 7, they didn't really explain it yet on what happened there in between. We do know that she tells Daisy I don't know if that was in the end of the season or the episode 1 of season 7, but she does say, I'm sorry if I'm kind of going in between. It's hard to remember which episode is which, but she says it's been a long time since I've seen you last. So we're like, huh? We don't really know what's going on there. My family and I were just kind of like, question mark. But I think we're going to find that out soon, hopefully tomorrow or the next day when we get caught up. So, but yeah, that's basically Simmons, where Simmons is at. Fitz this season, we see at the beginning, he's separated from Simmons, doing everything he can to get back to her. He says, that's our curse, being separated. Obviously, this Fitz has no idea what's going on since he's been put in the chamber with Enoch, and he ends up, obviously, him and Simmons are reunited, like I said. He gets out a lot of his demons, and y'all, this is so good. He did not get this opportunity when the Fitz what came to the future and that died in season 5 had of getting all his emotions out and not bottling them up and keeping them in his brain where it drives him crazy, and where he, goes nuts on, Daisy and does surgery and, has that kind of crazy mindset. He gets all of that out, so, and he tells Simmons about it, and it's, not all in his heart anymore, and I think it really clears his mind up there, and it really helps him from becoming that evil doctor person that we did get glimpses of in season 5. So I think it was really good for him. So again, thank you, Chronicoms, for allowing them to get all of that out. That nice little space. Although it was creepy, terrifying, and I'm going to have nightmares tonight about it. Thank you. So that was Fitz there. Fitz gets back. And, the other Fitz in season 5 was having a hard time, relating to Deke, liking Deke, and this Fitz was actually having a good time with them and really enjoyed his company and his presence, and they were beginning to have a really cute relationship. Now we do see that when Fitz realizes that Deke has been, taking all of his tech ideas and, stealing them basically, he does get upset with him, and I really do feel bad for Deke because he's just a little doofus guy, and he didn't mean anything bad by it. He just wanted to be successful, and obviously he doesn't know all the rules of this earth. He lived in that apocalyptic future. But I guess I could talk about Deke now and what happened with Deke this season. We meet him several episodes into season 6, and he's running that successful company based on ideas that he stole from S.H.I.E.L.D. Like I said, I don't think he means it bad. I think he's just a little doofus guy that didn't realize how bad it was, because he doesn't know all the rules of Earth and that you're not supposed to steal things from other people. And I think, like he told them even, he told Simmons and Fitz, I just really wanted to make a name for myself because no one seems to like me. And, the girl I like doesn't like me, and no one in the future really even liked me, and all my friends, I don't have them anymore. The future that I'm from doesn't even exist. It's not even going to be a reality, and even my own grandparents don't like me. And I was like, shush, of course Simmons is being sweet, like, no, that's not true at all, but, Fitz is more harsh and like, and then, so he ends up trying to prove himself and uses that teleporter and goes and risks his life to help with the Izell thing, and I just felt so bad for him, and I can really relate to a lot of what he was saying, because I've had that before too. I was bullied as a kid, and felt like a lot of people didn't like me, and I was kind of misunderstood by a lot of people, and so I kind of could relate to him there, and I just felt really bad for him, and it was kind of the most that I've ever enjoyed. I mean, I've enjoyed Deke's character, in season 5 and everything, but I really enjoyed him more towards the end of season 6, even because I just felt so bad for him, and my heart just went out to him. Feeling left out and feeling like no one liked him. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, I really felt for him there. So it made me like him even more. More depth to his character there. And let's talk about Mac. Well, Mac this season, he doesn't go through too much, I don't think, this season. I mean, he is the new director, so he has a lot of responsibility there, and his relationship with Yo-Yo, obviously, at the beginning it's fractured. Like he said, he was trying to push her away because he thought that he needed to completely focus on his job, and that's a lot what Coulson did when he first got the job as director. He kind of shut off from Daisy, then Sky, and even kind of May and the rest of the team, because he was so focused on his job and doing everything right. And Daisy even tells Max, she says, that's how Coulson was when he first got the job. And like I said, I even said it in my season 2 rewatch review video that he was like that at the beginning of season 2, and kind of was distant from everybody. And so, she says, don't feel bad. It's just all a part of it. And finally, though, for a long time in season 6, him and Yo-Yo have that horrible relationship, kind of. We see at the end of season 5 that they did kind of was fractured before. He didn't believe in all the things that Yo-Yo was doing. Like I said, Yo-Yo locked him up, and Yo-Yo thought she was invincible, and he didn't agree with that. She killed the Ruby, and he obviously did not agree with that. So it was bad then, and it got even worse before season 6 starts, in that 1 year time jump. and they were apart for that entire time. And then finally, towards the end of season 6, they do get back together, and it's really sweet because I love, like I said, I love all the relationships in the show. So I adore Mac and Yo-Yo's relationship. So they got back together, and towards the end of the, it's basically just him trying to, get a feel of how he wants to be as a director this season. We see him at the end. He does everything he can to help Yo-Yo. She's possessed with the Izelle woman, and he's trying to save everybody and says we're gonna save everyone, and that's basically just Mac this season. Now, Yo-Yo this season, we do see at the beginning, like I said, her and Mac were separated. I think she has a hard time dealing with some of the decisions that she did make in season 5. They were difficult on her, and obviously the separation from Mac is difficult on her. And we do see she has a relationship with another SHIELD agent who ends up being killed by one of those parasites, bat-like parasites that Izelle has, and so that hurts her. She's lost somebody else. And that affects her for a lot of the season. And then we see that she does get back with Mac, and then she was taken hostage basically by that woman, and she did a lot of her bad work there, and she even punched Mac and everything, and it wasn't good. But obviously she had no control of that. And I kind of thought, I was like, y'all now know how Daisy felt with Hive. But then I realized, no, Mac has actually been possessed by an alien thing too. Remember back in season 2, he was actually taken over by one of those spirit things in that Kree temple where Daisy, transforms and becomes an Inhuman. But he was possessed then, so I was like, poor guy, he's going through it again as well. Luckily, Daisy did not have to go through that again, because that would have been really traumatic, I think, flashback to when she was controlled by Hive. So I was really glad for that, and I was really thankful for Yo-Yo for stepping in front of her and taking the bullet for her, and thought that was really sweet. But yeah, Yo-Yo goes through a lot there. We see that her and Mac create basically Flint, and from the monolith energy. I don't really know what happened to him. I really have no idea, actually, because we see Piper took him off on the Quinjet, and I don't know where I know she was trying to get him to safety so that she could help him. I really don't know where she went. They went though. And then, we see Yo-Yo has that parasite. So Yo-Yo does go, and then she eventually gets over that at the end of the season. But she does go through a lot this season. Nothing too big for her character's development, I think. Obviously her and Mac's relationship was, had more development this season. But other than that, I think she just went through a whole bunch of crap, and she did lose that guy, so that was hard on her. But I do think that last season was bigger in her development than this season, although she did go through a lot this season. Now Coulson, obviously there's nothing to tell there because Coulson didn't exist. So sadly, I can't even talk about Coulson really, other than the Sarge guy, which I already discussed. Wasn't him; it's just his doppelganger. Evil doppelganger. But there's nothing really to say about Coulson, sadly. So that's basically it for my season 6 review. I think I covered everything. It was really fun getting to watch it, and I love getting to watch new episodes that I hadn't seen before. That was really fun for me to get to embark on new stories with these characters that I've loved for so long, and it's just been real fun. And from what I've seen of season 7, just that one episode, it seems to be really good. I love that we have Coulson back, sort of, with the LMD, and I'll talk more about that in my season 7 review video. But I think I'm going to like season 7, and I really did enjoy season 6. So thank you guys for watching. Please join me in my season 7 video where we will discuss the final season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., sadly, and I'm really not looking forward to it all ending. But after it is all over, I'm going to be here, and I would love for y'all to comment in the comment section in this video, but also in the next video when we can try to get through this all together. Just kind of grieving the show that has been a part of a lot of our lives for so long. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.